George Carlin behind you. You know, that's
Yeah.
holy grail right there, man.
Oh my God, I know.
The first time I met him, he said, "I'm not in show business. I'm a comedian."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the best.
Like, George was gangster.
Yeah.
This is What a Joke
With Tom Papa and Fortune Feimster.
on Netflix is a Joke Radio.
The first cut's an hour. Boom. And we're all trained now that these specials have to be 59 minutes with your credits. Done. Hour. That's all people can take. This cut felt more streamlined and faster at a longer time than the original cut in a way. So I guess that thing of, oh, it's got to be 50 minutes. No one's going to listen to you longer than that. Throw that out the window.
Yeah, it's art. There's no rules in art.
Yeah.
Just-
But nobody breaks them. I mean, that's to your credit.
Yeah. I didn't expect it to start with an interview, and I love that. It was like right out the gate, like a funny, joyous story.
It was one of these jokes. You ever a joke you only did once?
Mm-hmm.
I literally only did that White House story once.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was, whoa, the last party at the White House. First of all, you been to the White House?
Yes.
It's amazing.
It's
You
unbelievable.
walk in, you see these humongous portraits of the presidents everywhere you go, right?
Yeah.
So I'm there, and it's me, and Amir's there, and Jay-Z, Beyonce, Oprah, Steve. It's like I died and went to black heaven, right? And then they ring a bell, and you got to go watch the entertainment, right? So it's me, Charles Barkley, and Jay-Z go in this room and watch the entertainment. First, it was Herbie Hancock, and he was amazing, like boom, 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 boom. And then Stevie Wonder, like, kind of snatches the mic from Herbie Hancock, right? And starts playing his stuff, like, and put some extra blind in it. You know what I mean? Like, put some. Put some extra. You know what I mean?
You've always been a part of whenever I prep a special, because Wanda Sykes is one of my good friends, and she's like, Chris always told me that when you make a special, it's got to be special. And so none of this crap. You need to work on your jokes.
No regulars.
Yes.
A lot of regulars out there.
A lot of regulars.
I saw this on the menu yesterday. What are you talking about?
I remember talking to you at one point about specials, and you were talking about your first one, how you would study specials, how you had, back then, VCR tapes and would watch all, like, almost like game films. You are the first comedian to take a special and then redo the whole thing and bring it back out. Why'd you decide to do it?
First of all, the George Floyd thing went down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm watching CNN, and they used a clip from Tambourine with this whole joke I did about cops and bad apples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then CNN used the clip, and then you know, I keep seeing the clip everywhere, and people are sending it to me. And they always say the same thing. It's like, well, it's not most cops. It's just a few bad apples. It's just a few bad apples. Bad apple. That's a lovely name for murderer. It's like, how'd they get that one? Bad apple. That almost sounds nice. I mean, I've had a bad apple. It was tart, but it didn't choke me out. I call the editor. I call my editor friend, Michael Schultz, who does all my specials. And I go, is there any more stuff there?
Mm-hmm.
You know, any more
Right.
cop stuff?
Yeah.
And so we opened it up and we started looking at it, and we're like, not only is there more police stuff here, there's like a lot of jokes here.
Yeah.
So he just compiled all these jokes that just didn't make the special. And I looked at it, I was like, okay, maybe I can look at this a different way. Another side thing is I'm friends with Rick Rubin.
Mm-hmm.
And they did a reissue of the Tom Petty Wildflowers album. I don't know if you're a Tom Petty fan.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Of course.
And it played me like 8 new songs, right? Normally that means when you hear like a reissue or whatever and these extra songs, you can clearly hear why these things aren't on the album.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, not that they're bad, but sometimes they're too much like another song that's already on the album, right?
Right.
So I listened to the Wildflowers thing. Every song was amazing.
Wow.
I was like, what the fuck? Why are these songs so good? He's like, well, Tom wanted to put out a double album. The label was like, double album's going to be hard to sell. It was like, these songs are amazing. With that in mind, I was like, okay, let me see what this will look like.
Right.
And we started cutting and started, refiguring stuff and actually took some jokes out and tried to make it a different experience.
Right.
I didn't say anything to Netflix. I was just, spending my own money, just tinking around in the studio.
Right.
And I got a cut and I was like, wow, this is good. And I called Netflix and they're like, fuck you. Not paying you for again the same special.
Double dipping.
Fuck you. And they didn't say fuck you, but they were like, well, why would we,
Yeah.
really? And then we sent it over. And after they watched it, they were like, hey, there's something here.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time I've done something weird with a special. I mean,
Right.
a couple of specials ago, I shot what's the special? Kill the Messenger in 4 different countries.
Yeah.
I've always been into this thing where stand-up is an art form.
Yeah.
In an art form, somebody should be taking chances.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's interesting is Bo Burnham directed this first pass, and he was kind of pushing it in an artistic way in certain ways.
Let me go on the record right now. This is not, because I read, I think, something in the New York Times and it was like I got rid of his vision and all of this stuff. No. I love Bo Burnham.
Yeah.
I love that version of the special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Tambourine. Tambourine originally, whatever, is like the special I was dying to make my whole career. So this is not like, ooh, we got it wrong or any of that bullshit. You go on tour, you shoot the special, you shoot the live show, and a lot of people, they get too enamored with the live show.
Yeah.
And when you get in there and you get in that editing room, when you get in that Avid, it's like you're making a new piece of art. Some jokes become more important than they were before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some things seem like that was just a throwaway in that special. And in this one, it's like a whole bit. You know?
Right. You could actually get into the editing room and make something that the audience didn't really see.
Depends on the current climate too.
Yes, it does depend on, yes. 'Cause there's some of the Trump stuff I took out, honestly. It's like, okay, we're done with that.
Why did you make that choice?
Just some of it was just, some Omarosa joke. It's like, okay, no need for that. You gotta give, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, that thing killed in St. Louis. You're not in St. Louis anymore.
Yeah.
You're on this screen, and now you have to make a new piece of art. And sometimes you can have an order that you've been doing for 3 years. And then when you get in that room, you're like, oh man, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm going to move that whole hunk over there.
Yeah.
It's going to play better. Because sometimes, I mean, come on, we're comics, and any good comic, any good artist is 80% insecurity and 20% ego. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like 80% like total fear and 20% fucking ego. So a lot of the things you're doing on stage is just fucking fear.
Yeah. Terror.
You're like, I'm trying not to have a panic attack.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, it's just like you're just making, you think you have the most artistic set, but it's really the most secure set.
Mhm.
Yeah. I didn't die.
You know what I mean?
I don't think anyone would ever assume that you had nerves or fear when watching your stand-up.
I mean, preparation is just fear.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? But, I mean, it's it's not panic, but
Right.
just like over preparing.
Right.
It's like, oh, I have a special. Oh, how much time do you have to do on the special? Well, they want 60 minutes. How much time do you have? 2 hours and 12. That's fear.
Do you normally have that many jokes over the hour
Yeah,
that you shoot?
Kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm on tour, yeah, I try to have I try to have 2 hours at my disposal,
Mhm.
and I try to do about an hour 40.
Wow.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
Like,
59,
I'm like,
30.
oh, I gotta start writing.
a lot of that too is it's the house I'm playing. So
Mhm.
I always look at it this way. It's like, but yeah, if I'm playing a club, they'll get
Mhm.
an hour 10.
Right.
Right.
Height.
Mhm.
Right.
Height.
Hammering.
Oh man. But when you get up in these big theaters or an arena, it's like, well, we just saw Billie Eilish in the same room. We just saw,
Right.
whoever. We saw Prince in this room.
Yeah.
What we're used to see, the things we're used to seeing in this room are an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Mhm.
Right.
And they have beginning, middles, ends, crescendos, callbacks,
Costume changes.
good shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
fucking Radio City. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And you can only bring so many openers.
There's velvet seats. You know what I mean? Like
Ushers with bow ties.
ushers with bow ties, a proscenium arch.
Yeah.
Maybe I should give them a show. So I know I said you're not supposed to compete in a relationship, but after you go through that shit, you're like, am I gonna lose my kids? It's like, yo, I'm going hard every time I have my kids. And I always went hard, but I'm going extra hard. It's like, I don't know what you're doing at your mother's house, but we're gonna top that shit. Every motherfucking time, okay? Sometimes I bring guest stars. I make sure they go back to her with a story. They're like, Mama, Drake helped me with my homework. Lady Gaga made me a grilled cheese sandwich. Y'all think I'm bullshit. Check my Instagram, all right?
How do you do so much and decide what's going to get the priority?
Well, I mean, put it this way. Okay, my first priority is to be funny. Every year, New Year's Eve, where the whole world's going celebrating and counting, on January 1, I put a yellow pad in front of me and I literally write down, where was I funny this year?
Yeah.
Was I funny?
Uh-huh.
Like, that's like the most important thing to me. It's not even if a thing was a hit or a flop or whatever.
Right.
A movie isn't bigger than a talk show. It's just like, basically, was I funny?
Did you ever have any years where you're like,
Some
ooh.
years you're like,
This list is small.
I wasn't very funny this year. So, yes. So that's my first priority, like,
Wow.
just to be funny. And then it's kind of whatever the wind blows me. Honestly, I try to read. I don't believe in writer's block. I believe that there's reader's block.
Uh-huh.
And if you don't read a lot, then how can you write a lot?
That's
Yeah.
right.
You know what I mean?
It's
Crap.
true. It's
I gotta
really
get some, I gotta
true.
get some of those books.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just taking in stuff.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you know, try to take in as much stuff as humanly possible.
Mm.
Try to hang around as many comedians and just talk to funny people. But I don't really have a plan. My plan is to be funny. My plan is to be good. My plan is to try to do things I haven't seen
Mm-hmm.
and try to approach it like an artist. Comedians are amazing, but we're horrible rock stars. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
'Cause we don't, you know, we just put shit out. We don't fucking like,
Right.
you know what I mean? We don't, there's not a lot of strategy to it. You know?
Yeah, I've always thought of that. Like, I'm like,
That's
why don't
true.
we tour? Fortune and I talk about this all the time. It's like we just go nonstop. They're like, how
Yeah,
long's your
guys,
tour? 20-year long tour.
Yeah.
You know, I'm always telling guys to take a break. Like
Mhm.
Laura Michaels used to say, you can't make an entrance if you never leave.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like,
Some of
yeah.
them can't even stop performing now. I'm like, this is the
Yeah,
best time
yeah,
to stop.
I mean, but you know, on the other hand, somebody could argue we're not rock stars, we're jazz musicians. And jazz musicians play all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If you stop, but you've got something else to take your mind and your creativity, that's one thing. Just to stop, as we're doing now, it's weird to not be around comedians, not be playing.
It is, but on the other hand, like every great artist, you know, you like the Beatles, you like Hemingway, you like whatever. It's always about taking breaks and getting new experiences, and
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
going to India, going to Cuba, and it's like,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that's where to me, some of the greatness comes from.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I look at a guy like Dave, and he took that big break, and wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, look
Mhm.
how creative this guy has been on the level that his comedy has jumped up. And it's like that break is like, yeah, I don't say stop being a comedian. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
if you're always in the studio,
Right.
in comics, we all get like this way. Like when you get to that point where it's like all your jokes about, and then I got off the plane, and then I checked in the hotel.
I know.
Hotels are dirty, guys.
You know, sometimes when I do these gigs, I have to walk around the mall. It's like, no,
There's
Like,
a world
you-
out there.
there's like a whole world out there. It's not just gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It can go anywhere. It's just the great thing about stand-up. You can literally talk about anything.
Yeah.
And the goal, the hard thing is just keeping their attention.
Right.
Right.
You know, you're funny. You're gonna
Yeah.
be funny no matter what the fuck you. Tom motherfucking Pop is gonna be funny no matter what he's talking about. You know, they used to have signs up that said whites only. They used to have signs up that said no blacks allowed. Now they got something new. It's called prices. That's right, prices are the new Jim Crow. You know, the Four Seasons Hotel does not say no blacks allowed. But a $4,000 a night hotel suite show does. Yeah, that ought to handle your nigga problem right there. Prices are the new Jim Crow, baby. You know, Whole Foods does not say no blacks allowed. But a $7 orange show does. So they don't want my black ass in here. There's a couple of white people here going, they don't want us in here either.
You've made a lot of stuff at this point, my friend. It's really
Yeah.
you're always
Yeah.
inspiring.
You
When
inspire all of us, for sure.
stuff that you say rattles in our minds for the rest of our careers, and
For sure.
it's always great being able to talk to you and see what you're coming up with.
You guys are great. I like this show.
Thank you.
I just like when people take comedy serious, you know?